Okay, this is part 2 to the video. My cat was outside the door and she was crying, so I had to grab her. But now we're on number 2. And for number 2, it says convert each radian to degrees. So for this one again, because it is a part of this over here, you are going to be using exact again. And if you see on your unit circle, which he will provide on the test, if you're looking at the unit circle, you will see it says 5 pi over 4 right here, which is what they're looking for. And it says radian to degrees. So when you go onto your pie chart, you're going to look for the 5 pi over 4 and look at the degrees, and it's 225 degrees. So now you're going to come over here, and that's your answer. It is 225 degrees. So for both of these steps, you did not have to use a calculator. It was already chosen for you, and I made the mistake of instantly looking at my calculator. So just make sure you look. If it says exact value, just know that you're not going to use a calculator. Okay, now the second part is what I mean by you'll be able to tell if you're going to need to use a calculator or not. Because on here it says convert each angle to decimal degrees. If it mentions a decimal, I would just pull out the calculator because you're not going to be able to figure out a decimal on your own unless you're like super smart, which I'm not, so I wouldn't use the calculator. So you're literally just going to, oh, and it says round your answer to 2 decimal places, which by the way, all of his tests, what I've noticed, it's always 2 decimal places. So just if it doesn't say anything and you do decimals at all, make sure it's always 2 decimal places, at least. So now it says convert each angle to decimal degrees, right? So this is our angle that we have, which is 9 degrees, 9 minutes, and 9 seconds, DMS. So you're going to come here, and the first thing you do, I don't have an actual like calculator like he does, so I'm going to show it on here, but this is the exact same calculator that's in the classroom. So you see the mode right here on here. You're going to click mode. You're going to bring it down. This is exactly how you would do it on the calculator. See how it's in radians? You need it to be, for this question, it says decimal degrees. So you click it and you click enter down here, enter. And I would double click enter to make sure that it is stuck on degrees, and see how it's like highlighting like that? Make sure that it's doing that on your calculator. Then you click clear and it stays in that mode. So now your calculator is in degrees. It's not in radians, it's in degrees, and you have to make sure you do that or your answer will come out wrong. Now see the 9 and then the 9 degrees, 9 minutes, 9 seconds. You're going to type that in the calculator. How you do that is you click the 9, you click the second button, and you click apps, and then you click enter, because see how it's already on number 1, which is the degree symbol? Boom. It puts it in the calculator like that. Now you go back down again, and because it says 9 again, you're going to type in 9 again. You're going to go to second, you're going to go to apps, and you're going to click number 2, because see how the number 2 is in minutes? So you're going to click number 2. And then you're going to click 9 again, because it's 9 over here for this one. But this time you're going to click second, alpha, not apps, alpha, and then click the plus button, because see how it has these 2 little dots? I don't know if you can see that well, but see how it has these 2 little line things? That represents seconds, and you just click that. And then now you have this, right? So we're on here like this with your answer, and then you're just going to come down here, and because it's asking it for in decimal form, if I can make it work, you're going to click, sorry, the calculator's giving me issues, enter, and it gives you 9.15, right? Now that is your answer, but we're not done yet. See how it says 9.15? You're going to write 9.15 over here. That's your answer. But remember how I said this is in degrees, minutes, seconds? Do not forget this step. It's saying you're trying to get it to degrees. You have to add your degree symbol over here, or he will take off points. So make sure if it says to go to degrees, you add the degree symbol for your answer. If it says radians, there's no degree symbol on it. So just keep that in mind. So now I'm going to go to the next part. And by the way, you see how I'm doing this very slowly, step by step. You're in 7th period, most of you that I'm telling this to. Take your time. Even if you're not in Tuesday, Thursday class, take your time on the test, because I wouldn't rush it. You're going to start making big mistakes if you rush it. So just take your time, breathe, and just take it one step at a time. So now we're done with this problem, and now we're on number 4. So now it says convert each angle to DMS. So you see how our equation is already right now in, well, it doesn't really show that well, but see how it's already in degrees here? This, on this part, when you're looking at your calculator, you just have to look over here and see what your formula is already in. If this was in radians, then you have to remember that thing that's like R, and then it's like an arrow, and then it's like D, and then DMS, you know, like the symbols, and you just kind of have to memorize this a little bit. But when you're going from degrees to DMS, you have to be in degree mode. So your mode has to be in degree, which we are already in right now. I'm saying this because he's probably going to do on the test is he's going to take this, and instead of it being in degrees, he's probably going to make it in radians. And if that's the case, I'm going to clear on here so you know. You're going to click mode. You're going to go down to radian, and you're going to click enter, and I would double click enter just to make sure that it's stuck in radian, and see how it's highlighting on radian. You click clear, and now it's in radian mode. You have to do that every single time. Every single question you read, make sure it's in the right mode or you will get the wrong answer. So I'm going back because this one is in degrees, so I got to go back. I was just showing that as an example. And you're going to just click, I hate these calculators online. I just click enter and clear. Now I'm in degree mode, right? So now I'm in degree mode, I'm good, and I can double check. If it's highlighted on the degree symbol, it means I'm in degree mode, so I'm good. Which I'm going to scroll down just in case and click it again, just to double check. It doesn't hurt to double check it. Now we know for sure that I'm in degree mode. Okay, now moving on to the next part. I'm going to look at this number, and now that I'm in the degree form, I don't even have to type the degree symbol when I'm typing in the problem into the calculator because it's already in degrees form, so you don't have to worry about doing this when you're typing it in. If it was in radians form and you left it accidentally in mode of radian, you have to type in that degree or it will give you the wrong answer. But because we're in degree form, don't worry about it. Just leave it and just type in your answer, 18.255, and then go to second alpha and click DMS, or not alpha, second apps, sorry, make sure you get that correct, second apps, and then see how DMS is number 4, so you're going to just click number 4 in the calculator and click enter. Sorry, I'm hating this like Google thing is closed because it's getting in the way of the calculator. There we go. Okay, maybe. Okay, and then you're going to click enter. And see how it says 18 degrees, 15 minutes, 18 seconds. That is your answer. So you're going to write 18 degrees, 15 minutes, and 18 seconds. And that is what you should get, okay? That is your answer. Now, I'm going to give you an example of what's wrong. So this is the wrong way to do this, and this is what I'm trying to show you is how you will get a different answer if you do this. Let's say you go into mode, and you go to radian, and you click enter, and you click clear, and you left it in radian from a problem before. Let's say you type the 18.255, and then you clicked second apps, and clicked 4 for DMS, and then you click enter. Oh, well, that one did it correct. So basically, let's say I put the degree symbol there. Sorry, that was my fault. Let's say you do 18.255 and double check the mode to make sure it's on radian. Yep, clear. Okay, so you got the 18.255. And then let's say you typed in your degree symbol up here with it. Click enter. And then do the second apps, number 4 for DMS, it's going to give you something like this. And this is not correct. So that's why I'm saying for radians, if you don't put the sign either way, I think you're going to be fine. It will give you the same answer, but I just wouldn't risk it. Just make sure your thing is in degree mode because it will give you a wrong answer if you put it into radian. So I wouldn't even mess with that. Just make sure you know to put your mode, when to put your mode and how to put it, what to put it, if that makes sense. So now we're going to move on to the next question. These are the things we learned in class that were like, where it was like the circle, and then it was either S equals, where it's like S equals R theta, or the other one, which was A equals 1/2 R theta. So those are like the two equations that we had. We did this a while back, so you're kind of refreshing your memory with this one, which I can kind of pull out my notes and show you because it was a while back that we did this. So you're going to have to refresh your memory because this is definitely on the test. So I'm just going to find it and pull it out for you because you have to remember. Well, it's basically this that we did with like how you had to solve it and then you get your answer and you have to put meters, and then if it's in the where it's like area, you have to put meters squared. So I'll show you as I explain this problem. So the first thing I would do when you get on the test, because I was confused, I kept making mistakes, I would straight up just draw the circle before you even read the directions when you get here, because we automatically know it's going to be something to do with the s equals r theta or the a equals 1/2 r theta equations. So then I would just draw the pi because both equations have this, and then I would just leave it like that for now. And then when you're looking at the equation, so now it says a circle has a radius of 8.973 centimeters. So that's your radius, r. We already know our r, so we don't know which equation it could be yet. Then it says find the length of an arc. Length of an arc. If we look back in our directions, when it said this equation, the s equals r theta, it's going to ask about the arc length in the problem. So now we know that it's this equation. For the a equals the a one, it's going to ask the area of a sector. So just know that. For the one where it's like s equals r theta, that equation, it's going to ask you the length of the arc. For the other one, it's going to ask you the sector. The forms of a sector. If it mentions sector, it's a equals 1/2. So we just know this is a equals 1/2 r theta because it mentioned sector. So definitely just know that he's going to give you one of both of these on the test. It's just going to be a different equation that you have to solve. So now that we know this, you can come over here and just put your s there and your radius here, and now you have to find out what your radius is. So we know the radius is this, so I would just come over here and write r equals and just write that answer. So 8.973. And remember to keep in mind your centimeters. I would just pull that over here when your final answer so that you can write it over there. And for this, just put, because we see it's meters down here, write meters, but put squared. It has to be squared, meters squared. And this is just on its own. And that's because, see how it's like the, I forgot for this equation, there is like a 2 above there. Don't forget that. So this is why it's going to be squared. That's why you have to have it squared. So just know this is 1/2 r squared theta. That's your equation. Okay, so we're going to come back to this problem, and now I'm just going to focus on this problem. So for number 5, I'm just going to avoid this problem. For number 5, we know the radius, so we can type it. We can kind of figure out what we're doing. So I would just write s equals 8.973, and I would put that in parentheses. And then whatever you're multiplying by, so theta, we're trying to figure out theta. Write on your paper, the first thing you do when you get to this section, theta is always your radian. Theta equals radian. So we automatically know this has to be in radian form. So now you're going to just write your 49.06, but because we have to get this to radian form, you're going to have to do that equation. And you know how it's like that r to degrees to DMS? Well, if you're looking at that, if you're going from degrees to radian, anytime it's degrees to radian, it's going to be pi over 180 that you have to solve. So I would just automatically write that there. Now you're literally going to bring this to your calculator, and you're going to do this, which is your radius, multiplied by 49.06, multiplied by pi, and then all divided by 180. And I would just type that all in at once. So we're just going to come over here with the calculator, and we're just going to do 8, if it lets me. Sorry, I hate this calculator, how it's like not letting me work with it. Okay, let me just do that. Okay, so we're going to do 8, which I have, 0.973, which is your radius. That's the number they gave us for the radius, times 49.06, which is what the degrees they give you. And you can put the degree symbol, but you don't have to. Times pi, because we got that from the equation, all divided by 180. Type this all in at once. Enter. You should get this. You will get a decimal form. Some people, it depends on the equation. if he says for like the exact, or like if it says no calculator or something on the side, or not calculated, it's not going to be a decimal. He's looking for it in pi form. But in this case, he's not looking for it in pi form. So that's your final answer. Your final answer is going to be 7.68. And also, see how it's, I took these numbers. It's 2 decimal points over. It doesn't mention that. Just know that he always does it where it's like 2 decimal points. So it's going to be 7.68. Now you're not done. Don't forget to write your centimeters. That's why I wrote it over here, so you can kind of write it in both places so that you don't forget that. That is your final answer. You have to put centimeters at the after you type in your answer, or it will be counted wrong. Okay, that is your answer for this one. And also, you can kind of come down here if you wanted to and just write 7.68 centimeters, and then when you're coming to look back after you're done with your test, go back through and look for little mistakes you could make. Do not submit the test unless you're out of time completely because you were taking your time to look through, then you can. But if not, I would definitely recommend look very carefully for any mistakes you could have made on this test. Okay, now we're on to the next part. Okay, hopefully you can see that good. Okay, so now we have the second equation, and we already know it's going to be a equals 1/2 r squared over theta, which I'm going to rewrite that so you can see it better. So you got a equals 1/2 r squared theta. And then now we know, so I'm going to draw the shape, which I would have done that first, but I got distracted. So you're going to write, it says a central angle of 45 degrees forms a sector of a circle. Find the area of the sector if the radius of the circle is 4 meters. So first, you already know your radius. I would just write radius is 4. And then the central angle, which is theta, by the way, the 45 degrees. Just remember, if it's in degree form, the theta has to be in radian form, so you're going to have to do the pi over 180. So now we're going to come down here, and you're going to put a equals, which is your area, equals 1/2 is automatically just brought into the equation when you're typing it in. And then your r is 4 because it's how much your radius is. But then remember, it's squared because in the equation it includes that. And then your theta right now at this moment is 45 degrees. But because we want to change that to radians, you're going to have to put the pi over 180. And I know this looks like a lot right now, but we're going to break it up into pieces. So now we're going to write the area equals, and I would first just take these two and bring them down. So I make this 1/2 on your calculator. That's always just 0.5. So I would just bring it 0.5 and then times 4 times 4, or you could use it in the calculator, do 4 squared, is 16. And then just start with that. So, or I actually would just bring them both down. And then times 45, and then times pi over 180. And this is what I mean by being in degree mode is important. See how right now I'm in radian? Don't do that. For this, and the other one, I should have been in degrees. I made a mistake. Make sure you're checking this stuff. So I'm going to click enter because I need to be in degrees form. And you're going to type all of this in. So you're going to do 0.5, which is the same as 1/2, times 16 times 45, which is automatically known as degrees, but I would just add the degree symbol. It doesn't hurt. And then times pi, which you click the second button and then the arrow kind of going up to get your pi, and then all divided by 180. And you should get this as your answer, 6.28. So you're going to come over here and write 6.28 meters. We're not done. On this one, you see this squared? You have to put the 2 above it or you will get points taken off. So do not forget to do that for the second part. Anything with area, just know that you have to automatically put the 2 there. And that is your final answer for that section. Okay, so now that we have that all done, we're going to move to the next page. And by the way, he tends to put his in just where it's automatically in pi form or leaves it in pi. I do it this way because it's easier. I think he just gives you the option. But if not, just mentally prepare yourself in case it is in pi form. And